Good morning, YouTube. All right. My Miami fans may be able to relate to this video. I'm Cuban American, right? And as some of you know, I was born in Rochester, New York. But when I was just a few months old, we moved to Miami, which is where my parents first came when they came from Cuba to the U.S. in 1968. So I spent the first 9, almost 10 years of my life in Miami, in the 305. Shout out to the 305. And in many ways, I was transplanted, you can say, from the Cuban community in Miami to up north, upstate New York, Rochester, New York, on the edge of Lake Ontario, close to Canada, right? And grew up in a neighborhood which was mostly African American and Puerto Rican, a mix of both. So although I'm Cuban American, although the first language I spoke as a child was Spanish, I don't know a lot about my own culture, just to keep it real, because, like I said, from almost 10 years old to now, I've lived here in Rochester, New York. When I talk Spanish, I don't talk with the typical Cuban, oye, hacer, que bola. Even that was like forced. Again, the Latino, especially Cuban viewers, fans, will understand what I'm talking about. Having grown up in an area where the majority of the Latino population here in Rochester, like I said, is Puerto Rican, I speak more like Puerto Ricans speak when I talk Spanish, which confuses the shit out of people, because when I do go to Miami to visit and I talk to, let's say, a Cuban person, that person many times will assume that I'm Puerto Rican. And then sometimes they'll ask if I'm Puerto Rican. And then it opens up basically the whole story that I just told you guys and girls, right? So here's why I'm making this video. I'm not a huge sorry about that. I'm not a huge coffee drinker, right? But obviously I grew up drinking café con leche, right? When I go to Miami, I seek out my Cuban coffee, which, as many of you know, is like, espresso. It's very concentrated, very small, and that's all you need is basically a small shot of it. In fact, they serve it in little disposable paper cups, which is not even a cup, it's like a little shot. So my thing is, I'm not a huge coffee drinker, but when I do drink some sort of coffee drink, right, it has to have some sort of milk in it or cream. Again, unless it's in Miami and I'm doing the straight black sweet coffee, which that's what Cuban coffee is. But obviously, as a kid, I grew up drinking it mixed with evaporated milk, or with regular milk, and a lot of sugar, right? I like it sweet. So it's kind of weird, and I don't know, like I said, some of you may be able to relate to this, that when you're far away from your community, when you're far away from your culture, there's certain things that, even though I don't know a lot about my Cuban culture, right? Because I don't, like I said, and even though I it's kind of like a mix of like the Puerto Rican culture. There's no Cuban restaurants up here. There's a lot of Puerto Rican restaurants. There's Dominican restaurants. Like I said, there's very few, very small Cuban population up here. More than there used to be, but still small. So one of the things that I long for is the things I like to eat or drink when I visit Miami, right? And one of them is café con leche, right? So because there's a limited amount of places here where you can go. There's Tim Hortons, which people in Florida may not know about. It's a Canadian. Tim Horton was a hockey player. It's a coffee and bake shop. It's kind of like Dunkin' Donuts competition up here in this area. It's based out of Canada. I'm not sure what other states they're in. I know they're in Rochester, New York, and in this area. So I'll go there and I'll have like a French vanilla cappuccino, which and I always tell them to add sugar. And sometimes it'll throw them off. Like, do you know it already comes with sugar? And I said, yes, it's a Cuban thing. Just add sugar. Put sugar in there. And again, Cubans will know what I'm talking about. So today, my longing for a sweet coffee type hot drink, right, to satisfy that craving that I had, led me to Starbucks, which, no offense to any Starbucks fans, I'm not a Starbucks person. But again, I get tired of the same old, and since it's limited up here, I said, let me go and see if I can get some sort of sweet, hot coffee type drink. And of course, nothing comes close to being on Calle Ocho, one of my favorite spots on 32nd Avenue, where I was, a child. Across the street we lived is El Brazo Fuerte Bakery, or Sergio's on Coral Way, or Versalles, right, on Calle Ocho, close to right there, Little Havana neighborhood. So again, it brought me to Starbucks, and it brought me to order a grande cappuccino, vanilla, with some sugar, and basically that's it right there. And if you can see, they actually spelled my name right. I don't know if you can see it there. They spelled my name right. In the past, they've misspelled it. They'll do Davey, and it's supposed to be Davy. But anyways, $4.38 for this drink right here, which I guess is like a medium, because that's what I told them. I'm not a Starbucks person, so when I come here, I don't really know what to order. But I know that I just had that craving for something sweet, something, with some cream type, in it, which was vanilla. And it's not bad. It's not bad. I'm eating it with a blueberry muffin from a bakery up here, Harvest Bread Company, which I like. It's got a very good taste, and it's a place that I like to come to. So I'm kind of doing a combination from a bakery next door to Starbucks, or in the same plaza. And this is what you go through when you're away from your culture, when you're away from your community, and when you miss the things that I miss about Miami, which in many ways I feel more at home in Miami than I do in Rochester. Again, it's where I first spent the first 9, almost 10 years of my life. It's where I first learned how to walk, learned how to talk. It's my first childhood memories, Miami, Florida. And I miss it a lot. So thank you for watching, and I'm going to enjoy this $4, $4+ drink from Starbucks. Peace.